Okay, so this is the last lesson of the week, and it's 4-4, solving systems equations using inverse matrices. So there's an identity matrix for multiplication, basically telling you that 1, 0, 0, 1 is an identity, and if you do an inverse, then your inverse should be an identity. So if you multiply inverses together, they should come out to be an identity. And I'm going to kind of write that. So if they are inverses, the product should be an identity, which is 1, 0, 0, 1. So to check to see if two matrices are inverse, you can multiply m times n or n times m, either way. So m times n should be a identity, or if you did n times n, you should still get an identity. So you can multiply in either order. Typically, I just like to go left to right. So if they are inverses, you should get the identity matrix. If they aren't, you will not get it. So let's start checking this out. So to determine, we're going to multiply, and I'm going to just write this out again so that it's nice and neat down here. This is m times, we're going to take n, -2, 1, 3, -2. And remember from 2 lessons ago when multiplying matrices, and I was color coding, we have our rows in the first one and our columns in the second. So we're going to multiply, this is a 2 by 2 times a 2 by 2, so you know we should get a 2 by 2 matrix. And we're going to multiply the 2 times a 2 and get -2. 1 times 3 is 3. Again, it's addition. And then we do the same row with these ones. 2 times 1 is 2, and 1 times -2 is -2. And then we're going to do the bottom row. 3 times -2 is -6. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times -2 is -4. And then we're going to simplify -1, 0, 0, -1. And we're going to say, is this equal to the identity? And the answer is no. It's very close, but -1 and 1 are not the same value. So that is what we're going to do each time. We're going to multiply the two matrices together and see if they give us an identity. If they do, then it's an inverse. They are inverses of each other. If they do not, then they are not inverses. So let's do number 2. I'm going to rewrite the matrix here, -3, 2, 5, -3 times, again, you can multiply in either order, but I'm going to multiply first times second. And then I'm going to circle my rows and circle my columns. And I'm going to multiply first row by first column, and I get -9 plus 2 times 5 is 10. And then first row by second column, -6 plus 2 times 3 is 6. And then I'm going to do my second row. 5 times 3 is 15. -3 times 5 is -15. 5 times 2 is 10. -3 times 3 is -9. And if I add those together, this product is 1, or the sum. This sum is 0, this sum is 0, and this sum is 1. And you can see, yes, I did get my identity matrix. These are inverses. So you're going to use that same process to do 3 and 4. And then we're going to turn the page, and we're going to now find the inverse. So what about if I have a matrix and I want to find the inverse? To find the inverse of a matrix, there's this formula here that's given at the top. So if our matrix is A, B, C, D, written just like this, the inverse is 1 over A times D minus B times C, and then times, and we're going to rearrange the matrix. And it's kind of, if you kind of look at it, what it does is it switches the A and D. So these just switch spots. Okay, so that's, if you look here, A and D switch spots. And then if you look at B and C, they didn't switch spots. They got multiplied by a -1. Okay, so those are the things that are happening to create this new matrix. And in the product of this fraction times the matrix is what's going to give us our inverse. Okay, so let's look at the first one. If we want to find the inverse, it's going to be 1 over the product of A times D, which is -12, plus the product, minus the product of B and C, which is negative 20. I said plus because I knew we were going to end up adding them, but we get 1 over, if we add these together, this becomes 8. So 1/8 is the fraction, okay? And then we're going to multiply it by, again, switch A and D, so this becomes negative 3, and this corner becomes 4. Make B and C the opposite sign. So negative 4 is 4, negative 5 is negative 5. And then we're going to multiply, scalar multiply, so multiply the number outside, and we get negative 3 over 8, negative 5 over 8. We get 4 over 8, which is the same thing as 1/2, and 4 over 8 again, 1/2 again. And we'll do the second one just to make sure you've got this, and then you can practice it. So 1 over the product of A and D, 2 times 5 is 10, minus the product of B and C, 3 times 0 is 0. So we get 1/10 times, switch A and D, so we have 5 here and 2 here. Make the other two negative, so 3 made negative is negative 3, 0 made negative is still 0. And then we multiply. 1/10 times 5 is 1/2. 1/10 times 0 is 0. 1/10 times negative 3 is negative 3/10. And 1/10 times 2 is 2/10 or 1/5. And there's our answer. So now you're going to do these 4. Just find the inverse of those matrices using that same formula at the top. Tomorrow we're not meeting because it's Good Friday, so I'll see you again next week. Have a good weekend.